the fundamental reason why Joe Biden is not coming is there is a State of Union address which is supposed to take place before January 30th. The Quad has been postponed primarily because the Japanese Prime Minister, that is Fumio Kishida, cannot make it because he's currently facing a serious problems within his own polity. The aborted or the so-called aborted assassination of a terrorist called Gurpatwant Singh Pannun is just a minor crinkle in the vast Indo-US bilateral canvas. This has nothing to do with the aborted assassination or so-called aborted assassination of Gurpatwant Singh Pannun. Indian government is very clear that till such time Trudeau does not submit evidence like the Americans have done, the Canadians have no case in Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing. Here, Trudeau essentially is just doing sheer politics.
Hi, you're watching Hindustan Times. I'm Aditi Prasad, and with me is the Hindustan Times executive editor, Shishir Gupta. Today, we're going to talk about the visit or the non-visit of US President Joe Biden to India for the Republic Day celebrations. And the Quad meeting, which was supposed to be held on the 27th, which is the day after the celebrations. Now, we know for sure that Biden is not coming. There are people who are, and reports who are linking this, calling this a snub from Joe Biden to India after the Pannun issue, after the entire conversation about the Gurpatwant Singh Pannun and the bid to assassinate him or kill him. Now, the entire controversy we're going to talk about. But before that, I want to start by asking Shishir, how much credence is there in this whole, in all these reports that this is a snub by Joe Biden to India?
Namaskar. Aditi, at the outset, I must tell you that the aborted or the so-called aborted assassination of a terrorist called Gurpatwant Singh Pannun is just a minor crinkle in the vast Indo-US bilateral canvas. This is not the centerpiece. This was never intended to be the centerpiece. Second thing, the reason why Joe Biden has cancelled his trip, which was initially announced by the US ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti, in September, is primarily due to his State of Union address that has to take place before January 30th. This is a very important address because after this, he goes into a presidential election mode. And next January 2025, you will have a new US president. Now, the point in this is, so the fundamental reason why Joe Biden is not coming is there is a State of Union address which is supposed to take place before January 30th. It's another matter that last time the State of Union address took place on February 9th. Second reason is that the basic reason why Joe Biden is also not coming is because the Quad has been postponed. Now, why has the Quad been postponed? The Quad has been postponed primarily because the Japanese Prime Minister, that is Fumio Kishida, cannot make it because he's currently facing a serious problems within his own polity, and that is as far as the funding scandal that is going on in Japan. Second thing is that during this period, the Diet is in session and he has to be there in Japan, in Tokyo, to attend the session. So his entire Liberal Democratic Party is under a scanner for the funding issue. Third thing is that the Australian National Day happens to be on January 26, 2024. So the Australian Prime Minister could not make it, that is Anthony Albanese could not make it before that. So the only date that was left was January 27th. Now that was too close. As Joe Biden's political advisors advised him, it was too close to his State of Union address. And that is why he decided to back off to look at his political constituency, because he is losing in political polls to Donald Trump. this is the very basis why all this has happened. So much as your Indian detractors would like to believe, or the left liberal media would like us to believe, this has nothing to do with the aborted assassination or so-called aborted assassination of Gurpatwant Singh Pannun.
The FBI director Christopher Ree was in India recently. Was the Gurpatwant Singh Pannu? There were discussions on a host of issues. Was the Pannun issue a key issue during these conversations? Nikhil Gupta's charging by the U.S. Justice Department. All of this, did that come up for discussion?
The FBI director Christopher Ree was in town for 3 days. He met the CBI director Praveen Sinha. He met the Secretary RAW Ravi Sinha. He met DGNIA, that is Dinkar Gupta, and he met the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval for a considerable amount of time. Now, let me tell you categorically that the Pannu assassination was not discussed. What was discussed in this was the Khalistani activity in US, particularly what happened in the Indian Consulate General in San Francisco, activities in Sacramento, activities in general in the US on the Eastern Coast. What was also discussed was, how to sort of stop the money laundering activity, how to join hands in counterterrorism, how to ensure that the funding to terrorist groups and to the jihadi groups is stopped, with the two sides joining hands. I must tell you, Aditi, in this, that the reason why Pannu is not the key issue in these meetings was, with the NSA, was that the NSA heads the committee which is looking into the charges or the indictment done by the Department of Justice in the Pannu case. Now, the indictment has come, but the evidence is still to come. Let the evidence come, and then the Indian side will take action, or whatever action needs to be taken, whatever countermeasures needs to be taken to ensure that such things do not happen again. That is, if India was ever involved in this.
At least the US has given some evidence or something to go on for the Indian authorities to investigate, which is not the case with Canada, which has given no evidence to date after the September outburst of Prime Minister Trudeau in his parliament, talking about making these wild allegations against India and Indian agencies. I want to talk to you about the recent interview of Trudeau in which he said that he made those allegations against India public so as to put a chill on any further actions. Now, how is the Indian government responding to Trudeau's, these kind of statements time and again?
See, the Indian government is very clear that till such time Trudeau does not submit evidence like the Americans have done, the Canadians have no case in Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing, which was possibly a gangland warfare or basically some sort of a gang warfare killing. Now, the point in this is, here Trudeau essentially is just doing sheer politics. He is just playing to the galleries. He is playing to his vote bank. He is playing to help his ally party, minority party, which is the NDF. Now, what he does not want to do is that on December 18th, that would be the 6 months of Nijjar's assassination or killing, the Khalistanis are again demonstrating at the Sari Gurdwara, where he was killed, against the Indian government, will raise slogans, will threaten to assassinate the Indian political leadership, will make all sorts of allegations, but he's doing nothing to stop that. All he is doing is he's just playing to his political vote bank to ensure that his survival in Canadian politics remains.
And going by given the way that his opposition is gunning for him, that looks increasingly difficult.
See, whatever my understanding is that the Canadians do not have any evidence. I think he spoke out of turn after the Americans may have shared this indictment with him, which was filed way back in June, where it says that this Nikhil Gupta talked about Nijjar killing. Now, he has actually jumped the gun and decided to accuse India of all these things. So the point is that the Indian government time and again has been asking him for evidence, legitimate FIR, legitimate indictment, but nothing has happened. All he wants to sort of, play the cowboy, shoot from the hip, and say, he wants to put some chill into India. India does not do black operations. It is for Mr. Trudeau to come out with evidence rather than just plain speak.
How about the committee that has been formed, the high-level committee you talked about, which Doval is, of course, chairing, the high-level committee to look into the allegations, the Nikhil Gupta allegations, which have been put forth by the US. Any update on that?
You see, the point is the committee has been formed. The committee has members who have dealt with intelligence, who have dealt with counterterrorism operations. The point is, it is for the Americans to submit evidence. After the indictment, there is an indictment, there is Nikhil Gupta, there is somebody called CC1. Let them identify who the CC1 is. Let us see what the evidence is. You see, one must understand, when you file a charge sheet in a court or an indictment in a court, you also need to submit evidence to prove what you are charging the person with. You cannot simply say, listen, you have murdered somebody and that's why you're going to be punished for it. So let the evidence come first. Indian government is willing to look at the evidence. They are willing to take countermeasures. But the point is, let the evidence come and let's see the quality of evidence. One just cannot just simply sort of, believe one Mr. Trudeau who goes around the world giving interviews unnecessarily. Has Prime Minister Modi ever spoken about it? Has anybody senior in this government spoken about it? In fact, only yesterday, the Home Minister Amit Shah said very clearly, what is important is that, the court will be held subsequently in 2024. But let me also tell something very important in this. You see, the people may think that that there is a crack developed between Indo-US ties. Nothing of the sort. US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has said so. But I'll go much more than that. The American Fifth Fleet has been asking India that can you help us in sort of ensuring that the sea lanes of communications coming out of Red Sea are maintained after the Iran-backed Houthis are trying to target ships which are headed towards Israel. India has already stationed its lead destroyer INS Marmagao over there off the coast of Aden, and in case there would be a requirement, the government will take a call. So the point is that the two sides are continuously talking to each other at the national security level, at the national advisor level, security advisor level, at the external affairs ministers level, and at the highest level. So to say that, that Pannu is a central issue, no, he's just barely a sideshow.
All right. Thank you so much for that perspective, Shishir. Thank you for talking to us, and thank you, viewers, for watching this broadcast. We will come back to you with more. Stay tuned to Hindustan Times Point Blank.